What's up everyone, David here. I am very excited today because we got news to talk about, and since I'm now able to do 2 videos a week, hey, we're able to talk about those news, which is great. We got 2.5 topics to talk about today. The biggest topic, of course, is the new information that we got about Nocturne HD Remastered. You've seen the title. We got new content to talk about, so I'll describe everything new that they're going to add to this upcoming release of Nocturne. And also, I'll do a roundup of all the DLC and prices, what to expect. All of that should be pretty interesting. I also want to theorize and discuss why I think we might get SMT V news and information soon. And also, the last little thing, we're going to talk about Persona 5 Strikers for the West. So, let's get right in. We've got a lot of topics to go ahead. So, let's start with Nocturne HD, since this is the biggest topic. As I mentioned, we got new content coming to the game, and we have a few DLC. So, what I want to do is go around with the DLC first. If you don't know already, this game is coming out on October 29th in Japan, which means in a couple of weeks only. And here for the West, we have to wait until spring 2021 to get this game, which means that we're a few months away, but we'll get it at some point. The little thing that I want to tell you guys before I list all the DLC and prices and what they are, basically what I think about them quickly as well. I need to tell you that this is confirmed, but this is confirmed for the Japanese version only, which means that we have no official confirmation that this will be the list of DLC in the West and that this will be those prices as well if you do the conversion to yen to USD. But for this type of port, I don't think Atlus will do something very different, which means that I think it's pertinent to look at it and think that we might get something very similar once it comes here in the West. So let's look at it. The first DLC pack that they have is the Maniacs Pack. So this is a pack that was available in the European version of the game back in the day. This is great. This is the best thing that they added for most people. It is the fact that you can exchange Raido for Dante from the Devil May Cry series that was in the original Nocturne for us in the West. This pack is worth 980 yen, which means it's roughly $9 US. You guys know what I think about this pack in general. Anyways, I think Raido's cooler, but for people who want to have Dante in the game, it's cool and you can buy it for just around $9. Let me go back just a bit. I forgot to mention that the DLC that I'm listing at the moment are coming on October 29th, so on launch day. They're day 1 DLC basically that you can purchase. Now, I will list there's also DLC that are coming later, so I'll be specifying the date when it comes to that. The next DLC is a day 1 DLC as well, but a free DLC. It is for the merciful difficulty, so for anyone, Atlus is saying that for this DLC is for anyone who wants to experience the story but doesn't want to spend too much time grinding, basically. So, of course, Megaton titles, mainline games are, most of the time they're kind of hard, so for someone who's not really into Megaton, just wants to experience the story since it's very good, it might be an option. I don't want to hear anyone complaining about that, guys. Honestly, if you don't want to have the merciful difficulty, just don't download it and don't put it on your game. The normal difficulty and Nightmare is still available, so please don't cry about this. It's just an option. It is great. Plus, I'm sure that a bunch of people that have never played anything SMT but just know about Persona will probably try it out, so it is a good option, in my opinion. Now, 2 other things which are, again, are for new players. They're really trying to push, like, content for people who want to play the game a bit more casually. The 2 other DLCs that they have is, one, it is new maps, where you can fight enemies and gather a lot of items, including grimoires, which, if you don't know, that allows you to level up really quickly. So it will basically be an XP booster if you buy this pack. So this pack isn't free. It is 350 yen, which means that it's roughly $3 for us here in the US. And the other pack that they have is new maps. Basically the same thing, but those battles that you get on those new maps will give you a lot of Maka or a lot of items that you can exchange in exchange for Maka. So that allows you to get new items, basically. So those 2 little maps are basically to make the experience more enjoyable for people who don't want to experience a challenge in the game, basically. That's what I understand. Now, the 2 other DLCs, or should I say, the 4 other DLCs that are releasing on November 5th, and that is very cool. So, very nice, very nice. That's probably the one that I'll buy, okay? Those DLC that are coming on the 5th are music packs. Let me explain. You might have heard of certain games, Shin Megami Tensei 1, Shin Megami Tensei 2, Shin Megami Tensei 4, and 4 Apocalypse. 4 great games, mainline titles in the SMT series, other than 3 basically. That's all the mainline games. Well, each of those games, they have a pack, a music pack, which once you buy it for roughly 220 yen each, which means roughly $2 US, you get access to the world theme of those games and also the combat themes of those games. So that is very cool, and you can toggle the music whenever you want. You can change it in the menu, which means that, for example, you're about to fight Matador and you know that you're going to get wrecked. Well, it might be a good time to put Battle B2, you know, to get in the mood to get wrecked. So that is very exciting, at least for me. That is something that I think is very cool as a big video game music, and especially Megaton music fan. It is very exciting, and for $2, I'm down. I'd rather pay 10 bucks for all those music packs than just Dante, but that's me. Now, the most exciting part, they added free new content to the game, which is cool. Some people won't be happy about that first point. I know I am. It is the ability to save everywhere. So whenever you are in the game, you don't have to go to a specific terminal or a specific spot. You can just pop up the menu, save. That's great. That's great. Again, if you don't like this type of mechanic, just don't use it. That's my opinion on the matter. The other thing that is pretty cool is the ability to have multiple saves, so you can have multiple playthrough. You can start a new playthrough, and you can reuse your Demon Compendium, your completed Demon Compendium that you had in your other save file. So if you start with New Game Plus, you carry on your Demon Compendium, which is very cool. Another thing, which I'm surprised it's not a paid DLC, it is a new puzzle game with 20 stages in Asakusa that allows you to gather new items. I don't know any details about those puzzles, so I don't necessarily know what it's going to be. If it's free, I don't expect anything big, or I don't expect it to be a big deal, but it's new content and it's free. Can't complain. Another thing that is kind of very cool and pretty exciting actually, it is the Burial Chambers. That's basically a place where you go in the game and you're able to fight again with different bosses that you fought before in your playthrough. And what's cool about that is that you get scores depending on how you perform in the battle against the boss. So if you perform very well and you get a high score against a certain boss, you might get some pretty interesting items that they say. So that is very cool. Now remember I said we have 2 news and a half to talk about. The other thing is the point 5 basically is the SMT V information. It's not news. I just wanted to speculate. Maybe I think that maybe now that Nocturne will be out in the West, maybe we'll start to get new information on on Shin Megami Tensei 5. Why I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like we're really divisive on that point. Some people think that we'll start to get new info on SMT 5 now that Nocturne's out in Japan, and that they don't really care about having the game released in the West before they give us information. And some people think, on the contrary, they want to push the game in Japan like they did, for example, at Tokyo Game Show, New Game Plus Expo 2. And they want to push it again for us in the West before they give us SMT 5 info. So there's 2 camps, basically. That's my question of the day, guys. I would like to know in the comment sections below, do you think we'll start to get SMT 5 news now that SMT Nocturne will be out in Japan? Or do you think we'll have to wait before we get a lot of news on SMT 5 until Nocturne releases in the West as well? Let me know down in the comment section below so we can talk about it. Now let's jump right into the last news that we have for today. Persona 5 Scrambled Phantom Strikers. Scramble because that's the name in the West. If you don't know already, in the West it will be called Persona 5 Strikers. There was a lot of people talking about this on Twitter, so I wanted to quickly talk about it and give my take on the matter. An Australian manufacturer and video game seller called Gameware has stated that Persona 5 Scrambled the Phantom Strikers is coming to Europe in 2021. The problem with this is that we already know that the game is going to be called Persona 5 Strikers for anywhere else than Japan. So there's a mistake in the name. So does that mean that it's fake? Does that mean that it's just a placeholder? In my opinion, it means that they know that the game's confirmed, but it's a placeholder because obviously the date is just 2021. There's no specific date, and there's a mistake also on the name, which leads me to believe that they don't have a lot of info on the upcoming title. It is not an official confirmation at all, so we should definitely take this with a grain of salt. But I still wanted to talk about it because I know that it's going around Twitter very quickly at the moment, and I wanted to make sure that we know that this is not an official confirmation, but it is another another clue that leads me to believe that, of course, we'll get this title at some point in the West. So we just gotta be patient, and we will keep a close watch on this game. Of course, once we get new information, I'll let you guys know. I know that you're interested in this one. Now, the last little news for this episode, of course, is the announcement of episode 2 of the DAP, Demon Appreciation Podcast. Last week, we had episode 1 where I showcased my Atlas collection and where I introduced the show to you guys. Well, this week, as I confirmed last week, it is the spoiler cast for 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. I am now able to confirm that this episode is going to be live, and we are going to go live on Wednesday of this week, which is the 14th of October, and we are going live at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. So if you guys are able to catch it live, it would be great. Don't hesitate to hop on chat, and if you have any questions for us, you can drop them in the comments below right here on this video, or you can also write to me on Twitter with your questions, and we will be happy to talk about your questions and answer them during the show. We are going to have guests on this episode of the podcast that you all know and love, so it should be interesting, and I hope that you guys will look forward to it. So this is it, guys, for this DC news episode. I'm very excited to finally have another news episode. I love those episodes. They're really fun to make. Again, let me know what you think about the SMT 5 information that we might get in the future. And if you don't know me, my name is David. I cover mostly Atlas stuff, and I really do like to make those weekly news episodes. I have a weekly podcast, and I like to do a lot of discussions video, especially on SMT 5. So if you're interested in this type of content, please consider subscribing, and please ring that little bell so you get notified whenever I upload a video. And my upload schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. The podcast, unfortunately for now, I don't have a fixed date and hour, but I can promise that this is a weekly show. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and as always, a thumbs up helps, and we will see you in the next episode.